Alrighty, guys. It is 3:30 this Friday, August 8th, and no news to drive the market today. Pretty much looking at the market, which has been surprisingly strong, I have to say. We started off range bound. We were looking to sell strength up to this level, 64.15s, and so far they're right up there. They have not backed off a whole lot. We won a little rotation down here at the London close time, and then straight back up, and then it's been holding on here for the longest time. And I mean, you saw me on the Nasdaq. I took one trade on a couple of trades on the Nasdaq a little bit later here, but it's neither of them went anywhere. I'll show you those in a second. But it's a pretty the same dynamic on the ES here. They are holding on to their gains, and so far market is to the upside. It wants to trade higher. Now we're still technically in a range, but you can see here how this capital how they had the shape of this distribution is for shape to the upside, so they implying a retest of the high, potentially higher prices. We are holding right up here at this 6400 attractor on the ES, and we're in a pretty good spot to take this higher. So going into the overnight, I would start off range bound. I would start off with a slight bias to the upside, see if they can keep going. If not, we may find ourselves just rotating right back here to value and start building value. It's time to find a spot here. You have this potential spot here at the 6405. You have another spot here a little bit lower at the 6360s and 50 to 60s. And we just have to see where they want to build value. But so far, I had to say, it looks pretty freaking positive. So they looks like they want to take it higher. The AI trade is on fire still. Those AI stock, Palantir, Nvidia, this has been trading higher ever since the earnings. They've been as absolutely brutal, relentless. So I would start off on the long side, look to buy weakness, at least initially. At the first level, probably put the level down here at the random mode, 6408, and then level here at the 60, just shy of the 6400s. And then, of course, this level here at the 6390s. If they close below that 90 level, 6390s, we'll taking off a long bias and going back a range bound. So that's kind of the way we start off the overnight. And let's see how if they're going to be able to extend or not. So we'll take it from there. Then it looks at the Nasdaq and the bonds, and I took a couple of trades on the Nasdaq. And the reason I took those is we had this rotation down. And the last after the 130, we were talking about the potential rotation back to the mean with this slop in the middle. We can quite make up our minds on. Uh, they started taking this higher, and pretty good clip. I tried a long trade here, pretty aggressive, and I had a pretty good trade going for a bit, and I just got out of it. I figured like, yeah, Peter, that's not great trade location. Not sure exactly why you wanted to take that trade, but that's what the typical reactionary trade is. So I got out of that thing early. I didn't want to sit through that thing. I figured that this could be one way. It could go either way. Turned out to be would have been a good trade if I stayed with it. However, if you do stuff like that with shitty trade location and it's more of a yeah, it has to go or I'm going to be stuck, then it usually is not a good setup. So you're violating your own rules. The better trade was actually when it traded higher like that. You let it run out of gas and it looks like it was failing. So and we see this a few times. Then when they run up like this, and when you get a pretty good move down like this, not just a little move, but a pretty good move like we had here, getting short on the little pullback here for another leg lower usually could turn into a pretty good rotation back to the mean, especially late in the day. So that's what the thought process behind that trade. So I got short there, I had my stop outside of that rotation, and I had I let that one sit for a bit. You see it was going back and forth, and I had a pretty good at this on this bar here. Probably had like 50, 60 bucks in that trade, and it's looked to me like it would had a good shot at getting lower, but then they just reversed it right back up again. So and when they start, I tightened up my stop a bit. But when they started looking trading up here, I figured I'm not doing this. So I got out of this trade manually, and they would have hit my stop right there a few bars afterwards. So if since it didn't develop, get out of the trade. I mean that's the general rule. It's trade doesn't develop the way you want it to, get out of the trade. I gave this one a little bit more room since I had a pretty good trade location. But once you start seeing and squeezing it up here past the what you expect, then yes, the trade is not what you expect. We'll see if they are going to run this lower later on here, but right now you can see they just end up say, twisting in a win. So that was a good call, but I'm up 950 on three contracts, so not much to show for it. So pretty much three shakeouts. One was earlier on here and a short. I tried a short at the upper level right there. I scratched that one because I faded too much heat on that one. And these two, it was a shitty trade I got out of early. This one was a better trade. and it didn't quite develop. Now I could have taken profit a little bit more aggressively on that thing, but the thought process here was really that a nice little run up here going into the 2 o'clock hour, nice fake out, potential rotation right back down to the mean at that point. And we've seen that happen a few times when they suck everyone in on the wrong side of the market just to just absolutely crush you afterwards. So anyway, tried it, didn't work, and that was it. In the bond market, we're still heading, staying on the long, on the short side. Looks to me like they're trying to take it shorter or shorter, trying to take it lower on that on the bond. So stay on the short side on the bond market. Let's see how far they can take it. And finally, oil and gold. And look at this crazy stuff. I don't know where this came from. Look at that. This is a right at the or close to 2 o'clock. Massive move on gold. This is like 88 down to the 40. It's like 45, $50 in a couple of bars. I was looking at this like, what the hell now? So what's going on? And again, you tempted to do something, but do not trade this. This is just too crazy. So I didn't know anything with it, but they took a pretty good leg lower here. So they absolutely busted through. So this rotation up here, a big move to the upside, completely reversed. We are right back into this lower area again. So I would look for rotation back here to the 34, maybe in 34.20s here. Let's see if they're going to get lower, but definitely whatever it was that drove the market up the other day is definitely got reversed today. So probably someone took back, yeah, they no tariffs on gold bars or something like that. But anyway, so gold has been crazy. I haven't traded that at all. And oil, yes, stay on the sidelines on that guy too, range bound. Yes, not going anywhere in a big way, but I would say the bias is to the downside. I would stay on the short side right now. So primarily range bound, but I would favor the short side until they take out that 65.60s. And if they do that, then I'll probably go back more range bound. So 64.60s here, maybe up to the 65s, these two resistance areas. That comes out, we're back up in this upper range again. So that's oil to get started. So oil and gold, gold from the short side, oil range bound with a slight bias to the downside. Okay, back to the ES. So far, has 3 trades on the NASDAQ, and none of them went anywhere for me today. So one was going, I had a pretty good thing going there, but it didn't turn out well. So yes, just to recap, we started off range bound, and if you were looking at trading this as a range bound market, you tried to get short here in the upper level. You had a couple of opportunities where it worked out. Other ones where you got stuck twisting in the wind. If you favored the long side after the London close, you definitely had a pretty good move going here, especially if you bought this mean test. Now you had plenty of time to get long here if you wanted to, but as I said earlier on, at the time it didn't feel very much it felt like they could move lower, even lower. And you just have to make that call. The mean trade is difficult because you have to make a directional call. You think it's going to bounce or you think it's going to keep going. That's the call you have to make. If you trade an edge, you're always fading in outer edge back to the mean. So that's not a no-brainer. You know what direction you're trading it from. You just have to find the trade location. All right, guys, we'll wrap it there for now. So 3 trades on the NASDAQ, that's about it. And I will see you guys back bright and early on Monday. You guys have a good weekend. Later.